In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Death is seen not as the termination of life, rather the continuation of life in another form. In Islamic belief, God has made this worldly life as a test and a preparation ground for the afterlife. And with death, this worldly life comes to an end. Thus, every person has only one chance to prepare themselves for the life to come, where God will resurrect and judge every individual and will entitle them to rewards or punishments based on their good or bad deeds. Death is also seen as the gateway to the beginning of the afterlife. In Islamic belief, death is predetermined by God, and the exact time of a person's death is known only to God. Death is accepted as wholly natural and merely marks a transition between the material realm and the unseen world. Believers expect that their last word in this world would be their profession of faith, which reads, "I testify that there is no God but God, and Muhammad is the messenger of God." This is considered an act which would allow one to enter Jannah or heaven. Now, the Quran itself gives only brief references about the period between death and the resurrection. However, it mentions that certain individuals, such as martyrs, are alive and not dead, and also indicate that some are already in hell. And after the burial, each person is interrogated by two angels called Munkar and Nakir, appointed by God to question the dead in order to test their faith. The righteous believers answer correctly and live in peace and comfort, while the sinners and disbelievers fail and punishments ensue. The fate of the dying after leaving the body depends on whether they are believers or unbelievers. Depending on the state of the soul, the deceased will undergo different journeys. When a righteous believer dies, bright-faced angels from heaven descend with divine perfume and shroud. Then the angel of death comes and tells the soul to come out to the pleasure and mercy of God. The soul is then extracted as easy as water comes out from the pitcher. The soul is then wrapped in a perfume shroud and is taken up to the seventh heaven, where God declares, "Write down his name in Ilion and take him back to earth. I created him from earth, and I will raise him from a second time from this very earth." The soul is then pushed back into the body and is interrogated by two angels called Munkar and Nakir. If he succeeds in answering the questions and is blessed with heavenly rewards, The sinners or disbelievers meet the angels of hell to take position in front of him. Thereupon, they tell the soul to come out to the wrath of God. Being terrified, the soul desperately tries to hide itself in the body. Thereupon, the angel of death start beating the soul and extract it from the body in the most painful way. The painful process of taking out a sinner's soul has been compared with the dragging of an iron squirrel through moist wool, tearing the veins and sinews. The soul of the sinner is then wrapped in a dirty cloth which emits a bad odor. Carrying the soul, the angels head towards the heaven. On the way, other angels inquire about this wicked soul. They are told that this is the soul of that and that sinner person. The angels then arrive at the upper heaven, but its doors are not open for the evil soul. Consequently, the soul is then thrown into hell or underworld, where it is punished until the day of judgment. The souls of the sinners and disbelievers are kept and punished in a place called Sijin, which is said to be located at the lowest of the earth, traditionally hell. Before the day of resurrection or underworld, the books containing full records of their deeds are also kept here. On the other hand, the souls of the righteous believers are kept in a place called Ilion, heaven, the highest place. Their books of deeds are also kept here, according to some account. And may the peace and blessings of God be amongst us all. Amen. 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 Amen.